Hi, this is my community in words and pictures. Today I'm talking about Westchester, Pennsylvania, where I'm doing my fieldwork, but also my hometown. It was established in 1799, and the total population is 18,461. These are some photos of Westchester, Pennsylvania. The top left is the original courthouse. On the top right is the main business strip on Gay Street. On the bottom left is the main business strip on Market Street, and on the bottom right is the main business strip on High Street. These are our elected officials. The mayor, Diane Herron, the previous mayor and now PA State Rep, Carolyn Committa, PA's Governor, Tom Wolf, our PA State Senator, Andrew Dinniman, our U.S. State Rep, Ryan Costello, and our U.S. State Senator, Pat Toomey. Here's a map of Westchester Borough and its 8 voting wards. Let's talk a bit about the demographics. Westchester is a primarily Caucasian borough with 78.7% Caucasian, followed by 13.4% Latino, and then 12.1% Black African American. The remaining 4% of the race makeup is listed below. Here are the demographics about gender and age. There are more females than males, with 51.7% females to 48.3% males. And then you can see the largest age range that you would see represented in Westchester is 20 to 30-year-olds, which makes sense because we are home to a university, followed by the 19 and under. So there's a lot of young people in Westchester. And then 30 to 50-year-olds. And then the remaining, about 17%, is made up of 50 and older. Let's talk about employment and income. More females than males are employed in Westchester, and we have a very low unemployment rate, as you see. But as you see on the right, what I found is interesting is there are a lot of income levels represented in Westchester. There are many making 75,000 and above, many there at 50 to 75, but then there are also many under that, 35 to 50 and lower. A large percentage, almost second place there, is under $15,000 a year, which is really not a livable wage. So it's interesting to see how there is such a large higher income level population, but there is also such a large low income population as well. The education levels here, the highest there is bachelor's degree. And again, with a university in your hometown, it makes sense why there are so many people who hold a degree. Here's a pie chart talking about the crime rates. The largest crimes being 60% burglary, and then followed by 41% of the crimes, the 484 reported Part 1 crimes last year were rape. With a large bar scene and the university, I kind of thought that that might have influenced the rape percentage there. But also the large amount of businesses in the borough probably affect the burglary rate, as well as the fact that Chester County has a large opioid epidemic, and we often see those with addiction resorting to burglary and robbery. And then the large chunk there is for theft and motor vehicle theft, that green chunk for others. Westchester University, talked about it a couple times already. This is the largest institution in the borough of Westchester. It has 17,010 students enrolled, and it employs 685 people full-time and 277 employees part-time. My mother is an employee of Westchester University. It's been a large part of my life growing up in the borough. And there are so many students that flood this town and really help with the borough's economics, bringing money into those borough businesses, bringing education, bringing diversity. It's a wonderful thing to have a university in your hometown. I also just talked earlier about how I thought maybe the crime rate affected the area's crime rate, but as you see here, just from what I found, I might be wrong. The crime rate has been declining significantly at the university in the past few years. QVC is headquartered right outside of the borough of Westchester. It is home to 17.1 thousand employees. Multiple family members, including my father, are employed by QVC. While the 17.1 thousand are worldwide, there are so many people in the headquarters in Westchester who are employed by QVC. So it is a big economic booster for our area. And it's a worldwide phenomenon. Another local organization that I really wanted to talk about was the Rotary Club. My grandfather was the president of the Rotary for a while, and they do a lot of wonderful philanthropic work. They provide grants to many important nonprofits in the area, and they hold the annual chili cook-off, which is a huge town event. I also just wanted to mention a couple historical businesses and areas in the town. So the first is the Westchester Public Library, which was established in 1888, and it is still in business and doing very well and providing services to the community. Then the Westchester Railroad, which right now continues to do historical tours. However, they are talking about bringing it back as a functioning railroad, which would be great for Westchester's business. Woolworths was a large part of the economic boost in Westchester. However, in the Great Depression and beyond, it lost that department store need, that local drugstore need kind of was lost, and Woolworths closed down, and Westchester saw a large recession itself with not a lot of businesses thriving like they do today until Woolworths was redone into what we now know as Iron Hill, which is a large and well-known brewery and brought a lot of business back to Westchester. Then there was the Warner Theater, opened in 1930, which brought a ton of business. Later closed down and became the Philadelphia Inquirer, which failed in that location, but in recent history became Hotel Warner, which paid homage to the original Warner name, kept the original beautiful facade, and then built a massive hotel behind it to bring more people to Westchester in this historical area. So looking over Westchester, I wanted to see, is it a good community? This is my hometown. So safety-wise, talking about the key elements of a good community from the article that we read from Ohio State University. Safety. All right, so Westchester is not an area that is prone to any natural disasters. But then we talk about safe water supply and overcrowding. So recently a Sunoco pipeline has been going through Westchester and Westchester area and has been leaking into people's yards. And there are concerns that it is going to mess up the water supply. And there are overcrowding concerns because a beautiful farm was sold to a massive development company. However, both of these have had legal ramifications now, and they're both on hold. Both projects are on hold because the community came together and fought these things. And then according to the police report from 2017, Part 1 crimes has decreased 22% in the past year and 58% since 2000. So I think safety-wise, we're doing pretty good. Goods and services. Westchester Borough has access to 3 different grocery stores on each edge of the borough, a ShopRite, an Acme, and a Giant. So you've got a good selection there. And we also have a weekly farmer's market open right in the borough center, which brings people all sorts of fresh fruits, vegetables, cheeses, meats. It's wonderful. The community loves it. Talking about the relationships that bind citizens together, we really have that small town feel where everyone knows one another. The student community from Westchester University is massive. Their service learning program does so many wonderful things for local nonprofits and charities in the area. And then they also are involved in a lot of activism. On March 24th, yesterday, was the March for Our Lives rally, which was the largest protest in Westchester's history, and Jay Leno even showed up. So the student community at the university is a huge part of the relationships that bind us together. The Rotary Club that I already talked about, And then the festivals. Celebrating brings everyone together, and we have so many festivals. The Rotary's Chili Cook-Off, the Turk's Head Music Festival, the Chester County Restaurant Festival, just to name a few. And then we have Swingin' Summer Thursdays every Thursday, First Fridays, and Super Sundays. There's always something going on, always a good community gathering. How about community values and goals? We do have a community of that. As you saw, the community binded together in the pipeline protest and legal action happened. Overcrowding. So Cree-Billy Farm was this beautiful property, and the Toll Brothers wanted to bring 300 new farms right outside of Westchester Borough. That project is on hold now because the community bound together for that. Yesterday's gun violence march. And then recently I was at a town hall meeting talking about a panhandling law that would have taken away street performers, which is a beautiful and fun part of Westchester. In the summer, you got people playing guitar, dancing, singing, little musical groups on the corners, artists doing sidewalk chalk, and this would have outlawed all of that. So a big community from the borough came and they protested that new law, and now that law is on hold as well. Predictability. The only thing I could really think about with predictability in Westchester is that, as I showed you earlier with the historical ventures, there have been so many changes to big businesses and storefronts. However, they all keep that same facade. The historical properties of the building go unchanged, so it always has looked the same. And is it a recognized place in the social structure? Well, it's the county seat. We are the county seat. We have the county courthouse in Westchester. So I think that says that, yeah, it is a pretty recognized place in the social structure of Chester County. And then talking about opportunities. In the article, it says that a central city should have a university, various museums, churches, libraries, shops of all kinds, parks and playgrounds, theaters, places of amusement, all that are generally accessible. Oh, I spelled generally wrong. Well, I noticed it now. But we have a university. We have a few museums in the surrounding area, but right in the borough is the Historical Society Museum. We have many different churches in the borough. Just walking through the street, you'll walk past at least 5 different churches of different denominations. We have the Westchester Public Library, which has been there for hundreds of years. All different kinds of shops, always new things popping up. There are at least 5 different parks, 2 large parks. One is Marshall Square Park, one is Everhart Park, that have playgrounds. There is a brand new theater that was just recently opened in the old Armory building, and it has been doing wonderfully. But there's also many smaller theater venues in the area that bring in some bands and musical groups. And then also the Turk's Head Music Festival. And then places of amusement. Yes, we have all sorts of wonderful things, including a skate park right outside of town for our youth to, spend time skating in. So I think that there's many opportunities like that. And then homogeneity versus heterogeneity. I was kind of disappointed in the mass amount of Caucasians and the lack of diversity in our community, but I do think that the Westchester University brings in more diversity than is counted in that census. And also when I was talking about it with a colleague, she said, wow, when she looked at it, and I said, I know a lot of white people, and she said, no, you have far more diversity here than I have in my hometown. So maybe we are not, so one-sided, but I think that there could always be more room for representation. Here are the references that I used, and thank you. I'm glad that you were able to enjoy this community research project about my hometown of Westchester.